You're correct.
All right. Welcome to the Broadview Public Library's October book banter. We are doing the book Conjure Women by Afia. And I'm Tisha and Yvonne.
I'm Yvonne.
Hi. Sorry, I don't know how to work this slideshow. I thought I did. Okay, there it is, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
So we're doing Conjure Women. We're going to be discussing Conjure Women. And again, Yvonne, why don't you do the disclaimer for us?
Why don't you do that?
Oh, okay. I'll do the disclaimer then. As Yvonne said previously, this is just our opinions of the book. We are just going to give you a brief review of Conjure Women. And remember, everything that we say is just our opinions of the book, our opinions of the subject matter. And we're going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And that's totally based on our opinion. So, Yvonne, why don't you start us off? What did you think of Conjure Women?
I really didn't know what to think. I really can't understand the storyline. I know it's taking place in slave time, but other than that, it's really confusing on what the story is trying to tell you. I mean, you know, it's a conjure woman. It's a woman who was a healer back in slave times, and she sometimes, I assume, did spells as well. But I'm not sure of how the story connects all these people together, other than that they all lived in this plantation little town.
So the story takes place in different eras. So the story takes place pre-Civil War, during Reconstruction, and post-Civil War. So pre-Civil War, the main character, one of the main characters, her name is Rue. Her mom is Miss Maybelle, and they are both considered the Conjure Women in this story. So Rue is Miss Maybelle's daughter, and prior to the Civil War, they lived on the plantation as slaves. They were the slaves of, what's his name, Master Charles? Is that what his name was?
Yes.
Master Charles. Master Charles had 2 or 3 sons that went off, got killed in the war, and then he had a daughter named Verena. And the story is also tied around Verena and Rue together as kids and as grown-ups. But there's a whole list of characters: Jonah, Sarah, Mado. They all live on this plantation and are slaves of Master Charles prior to the Civil War. So during wartime, the book also talks about wartime, right? During war.
Yes, it's about war.
But it doesn't really, so this is the part I was confused about. So during war, they were still on this plantation, right?
Right.
And the war was going on around them, apparently.
Apparently, yes, but they don't seem to ever leave this plantation. Even
right, so
after war, they're still there.
Right, they don't leave the plantation because after the war, so during the war, the house is burnt. Everybody apparently is killed. It said that the master shot himself, or so the story goes. I guess nobody know how he died, but he's dead.
Yeah, but first it starts off about talking about this baby that was born.
Oh, black-eyed bean.
Yeah, black-eyed bean, they called him. And everybody thought it was something weird or strange about him because of the way his eyes looked. And the way when he came into this world, it was kind of a strange type of birth. But it seemed that the story kind of seemed to go around him, sort of. Like it was something about him. Like the whole story kept insinuating it was something about this child that nobody could explain.
I felt that was anticlimactic because there's nothing wrong with the baby.
It wasn't, but I'm saying that's how the story was, though. It kept leading you up to like, there's something wrong with this child. So every time you turn the page, you're trying to feel, okay, well, what's wrong with the baby?
Right. And there was nothing wrong with him at the end. So I felt that part was like, I wanted something to be wrong with him. Forgive me. But
Well, I
I
just wanted
felt
to
it was,
know that's what it was. I just wanted
but
to
it wasn't
know.
nothing. That's what I'm
It
saying. Like, it
wasn't
was
nothing. That's what I'm saying. You
anticlimactic.
get to the end of the story, you figure out, well, there was nothing wrong with this baby at
Right. They
all.
kept building it up like he was going to
That's
be
what
the
I'm
devil
saying. It was like
incarnate.
the most thing they talked about in this story was about this baby. His eyes black
Right.
as ice was, and why
Right. And
he
that's what
didn't
they
get
like,
sick when other
oh,
kids
he's the
got
one
sick. It was
causing all
like
the trouble and he's the
all the
one
trouble
killing
in
the
the
other
town, and
babies.
he didn't.
And they never did say what the sickness was. They never did say what killed the other kids.
No, they didn't. It just
Unless
was
I
something that
missed
went
that
around
part. But
and,
they never did say
killed the
what killed them or
kids.
how they died.
No, they did not. And
So
really,
in
the
the
ending,
and
I
Bean
just don't
turned
get it.
out to be
How
fine. He turned out to be a
he
normal little
did,
boy.
other than he was the wind up being the preacher man's daughter. I mean, son, instead of
And
being
that
his
was probably what
daddy's
was
son.
wrong because yeah, didn't the guy say that his mama had a baby with scales or something crazy like that?
But no, she had. I guess it came from his mom, and then he
Right.
had the same. I guess
Right. So
skin.
that's how Rue knew that
That's how
that
she
was
found out,
his baby.
figuring out who the daddy really was. But she
Right.
didn't
But
even
that's
know
what I'm saying.
that until. See what I'm saying? The story just it kind of winds back and forth so much. You really don't. It didn't follow a pattern, right?
And I felt
Like
like some of the stories like they talked about Verena. They talked about her pregnancy. So who did she get raped by? Who was she raped by? Is that because that's what
it
I
seemed like it was
inferred
somebody
from the
from the
story.
party. Like it was
So it
some
wasn't,
guy that was at the
was it
party.
the guy she was supposed to marry? Because
I don't
remember it
think
said that
so.
he sent that letter saying he don't want to get married to somebody that's been spoiled. So how would he know that?
I don't know.
So was he the one that raped her?
I don't. I don't know. They never did say that, and you
That's what
really
I'm
didn't
saying. There
get
are
that from
so
the
many
story.
things that she mentions things in the book, like she mentioned
And
the
then it
writing
dropped.
the
It goes
letters.
off to something else, and it's
Right.
like, okay.
She mentions
But they
writing the
never
letters to the
said
northern aunt.
if they ever found out who the person was, or even if her dad knew, because originally they thought it was Rue's daddy who did it, and they
Well, they
killed
killed
him
him
for
for
it.
it. They didn't care if it was
Right.
him or not. They killed him
Yeah.
for it.
So it wasn't him. So I don't know if they knew that's who it was, and that's why this guy was marrying her. Because they never
See,
even
this is what
said
I'm saying. Like,
why
so
they were
when the
getting
baby
married.
was born, if the baby didn't come out black, come on now, that wasn't him. So
Well, see, she didn't even have the baby. I think she lost the baby.
no, she did. Remember, that was Bruce shame. That was the whole thing she felt. That's why she was saying when Black Eyed Bean was born, she had been there before. Remember, she took the baby down to the river, dug a hole, and put the baby in the hole in the river. And that was what she
Wasn't that
felt
Verena's
guilty
baby?
about. That was Verena's
But
baby.
that was Verena's baby, right?
Right, but the baby was white. The baby wasn't come out colored or, darker shade. The baby was white. So if the guy well, obviously we know it wasn't Rue's daddy because he wasn't at the party. Well, he
Right.
was at the party. Well, wasn't he the fiddle player?
He
No,
was
that was
at the
something different.
party because he.
No, that wasn't that party. That was a different party, like on Christmas where they went to, wasn't it?
No, there was a party that he had right after, I guess, her mom died, and they was having I don't know, a party to after the mourning part was over to, just to get out of that mourning, I guess. To
And
start
speaking of her
celebrating
mom
again.
dying, how is it that she was talking about Brother Abel? Let's not forget him. Brother Abel was at her mama's bedside, and Rue was how old is he that she's sleeping with him? How old is he if he was at her mama's bedside?
He must be much older than her.
But that's what
Because
I'm
she
saying.
was
Like,
young when, yeah.
right.
So,
So when I read that she didn't got with Brother Abel, I'm like, wait, if Brother Abel was able to comfort her mama and he was a preacher, a grown man preaching, how was now?
she was young. She had to be young.
Right, Rue was young, but that's what I'm saying. How old
Much
was
younger
Brother
than him.
Abel? Because I thought about that, I'm like, well, it didn't really say his age, but if you think back, he was at her mom's bedside when her mother was dying.
Right.
And now Rue is with Brother Abel. So how old is he?
I don't know. He has to be
And
at least.
everybody else was with him. Sarah was with him. So
Well, yeah. I think I
these
first
other
thought
women.
about him that he was just a slick talking preacher man. Was right, but
that's something I'm like, how old is he? He been around all this time since they was little, but yet now that they, how old must he be?
I
But
don't know. He
anyway.
had to be at least 10, 15, maybe 20 years older because
I guess that didn't matter back
it
then, but
didn't matter
still, I
back
thought
then
that
because girls when they were younger was married off anyway. So
still, it's like, okay.
I know it just didn't
Um,
make no. Like I said, just the story just went kind of. I don't know. It seemed like
I
it
see,
told more than one story, kind of to me. Like it was little stories within this story.
I felt, I
You
mean,
know?
I know, I kind of felt like I know what she was trying to do because it seemed like the plantation was isolated, like they were in an isolated place because they burned this and they were on an isolated strip of land where they said hardly anybody came. They were on this old plantation just milling about like ex-slaves, but once the war was over, they never left the plantation, so to speak. They were just there. So I'm like, how they get food? I mean, they had gardens, they had, but
I
somebody
guess
had to
whatever
go
they was
out.
growing on the land, or if they had a farm there, I guess it had to be animals there, or they could
Yeah, I
go
mean,
hunting
I'm
or
guessing they grew
whatever.
their own food, else how could they eat? They
Yeah,
caught their own game, like they were saying in the woods and stuff.
yeah.
And even the part where they were saying Rue and Mado was writing letters to Verena's aunt. It's like, what was the point of that? Like, it never went
Well, I
anywhere.
think
Like,
the point of it was they didn't want the aunt to come there and take over, the plantation because the dad was gone. Verena seemed like she must have been half crazy if she was living in that rectory for all that time. I guess they just wanted to be free and just be there without anybody else.
and I guess that's what they did. And I don't
That's what
understand
I
why
think.
Verena, I don't understand why at the end Verena wasn't madder than she was. Like, if somebody had told me for all those years that the war was going on and I was hiding in the church, and when Rue finally told her the truth, she acted like it was nothing.
She just
Like,
looked
oh,
like, oh, okay.
right. Like,
Then I
hello,
can
you've
leave
been
this
lying to
place. He's
me.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you've
then
been
she took the
lying to
baby with her.
me.
So yeah.
That's what I say. You've been lying to me for all these years and everybody
And
else. And
yeah, it didn't
then,
seem to bother her. She was fine. Just okay,
right,
I can leave now and okay, I'm going. And I'm gonna take the baby with me. Okay.
right. They dyed his hair purple or what is red. And
Yeah, because apparently he looked whiter than white anyway. So they just made his hair
so,
redder so it'll just all fit together.
so why did they do that? How all of a sudden was he going with Verena?
I don't know. I guess because Sarah really didn't want him. She didn't.
Dang.
And well, and I don't know why she didn't want home, baby. I don't know. Maybe I don't know because of his eyes or whatever. But she didn't seem to want him like she wanted her other kids. It seemed like he was
But
just,
she,
okay, she had him and whatever. But then I thought maybe it was because one of the kids wasn't, her husband's, but find out but none of them his because he couldn't make
oh my
none.
God, yes. What was that
Remember,
about? What was that?
I don't know. He couldn't make none because of an accident years ago.
But that's what I'm confused.
So
See, some of
I
the
don't know
stuff,
who the daddy is of the rest of them.
I feel like some of the details of the story were muddy. Like, I read them, but they weren't clear to me. Like, it wasn't exactly clear what they did to him. I mean, I get what they did to him, but what happened? How I wasn't
I don't
clear
know.
on
It
that.
seems to be something. I guess the animals ate. Seems like part of
Okay.
And she had to when he said
Okay.
that her mama knew because she
Right.
did this to me. It seemed like
Mm-hmm.
she must have had to, cut it off
Mm-hmm.
to keep it, because it was nothing to
Mm-hmm.
save. But
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't understand why he would stay with Sarah and all these babies, and he knowing none of them his.
But
And
he
who was
left
the
in
daddy of the
the end.
rest of them? Was all of them from Bro Abel? Or
It
was
could
she,
have been.
was she sleeping around with some? I don't know.
Some of them could have been old Joel's. Who knows? That old guy,
I don't
old
know.
Joel.
It's like you get bits and pieces of the story, and you gotta kind of figure it out for yourself.
That's what I said. I felt like there were a lot of things that she wrote, but then I was unclear. Like, she wrote them, but it was unclear. It was kind of muddied. Like,
It was.
and like you said, changing. Like, one of the chapters was promise, Exodus. I didn't get that. I didn't get what was that supposed to mean? Like, promise or Exodus, or I mean, I can get wartime. I can get before slavery, but what were those chapters or
I
what were
don't know.
those
And then
headings?
those white people, remember the white people who came? What I mean, they just poked in the story and then left, and like, what was that about?
That was the Ku Klux Klan. That was the start of the Ku
No,
Klux
not
Klan
them.
thing.
Remember, it was a old woman who came to Rue because she wanted some kind of spell or something from her.
Oh, but yeah, how
Yeah,
she find out? How she know that she
I
was the
don't
one to
know.
come
So I'm
to?
saying it's
Oh,
just like she
okay.
just popped in the story. We know she had a husband, and then you didn't hear anything else about
But
them. So what?
okay.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe because they said the one guy, they were supposed to go get the white doctor, but he took off with the money and never came back. And then he finally came back. So maybe, word of mouth, like people leaving, you know.
Still, it's like I said, just bits and pieces of stories with wound into this story. And
I
it's,
mean, I get
I
how
don't
they was
know.
all supposed to
Like
be
the only
connected
connection
because
that, like I said, they really had seemed that because they all lived in this little plantation.
and then like just certain things like during slavery, like the doll that her mom made for Verena,
Where'd you go?
um, was supposed to bound
Oh,
her and Rue together. I didn't really get that, like bound them together for what reason? And because the mama even said she not your friend, so why would she make a doll that binds them together? I wasn't.
I don't know. I think, well, I'm just thinking,
Oh, I just remembered. Bean was
is,
Verena's. Wasn't he her nephew? Because wasn't Sarah supposed to be her sister, her half sister?
yeah,
So
yes,
maybe that's why Bean went with her, because technically, he was her nephew, right?
technically, yeah.
And then he could pass for white, so they dyed his hair. But he was kin to her.
Yeah, it was her nephew because Sarah
Okay.
was her sister.
Yeah, her half sister. I know. I mean, I felt like this book was important in some way because, like you said, the Conjure women, we, we're, the book is called Conjure Women, and we're focused on the Conjure women. The book is about Rue and sickness. Like, she was a Conjure woman. She was like a nurse. She handled all the sickness. She handled all the death. She handled all the birth. So she was in charge of kind of like life and death. Those slaves, the people in the plantation, except for the missus. The second wife didn't want Miss Maybelle to come near her, but Miss Maybelle and Rue were the people responsible, the women responsible for life and death on this plantation.
True.
Anything that lived, they probably brought into the world. And anything that died, they prepared and took out of the world. So, I mean, I can get in that aspect, the idea of a conjure woman. But it seemed like Miss Maybelle did so much more conjuring, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I don't think that Rue really wanted to do conjuring. I think she just wanted to do the healing part.
Right. And that's pretty much
Don't
what she
think
did.
she
She
was
was
too much
relied on.
into that part of it. Yeah.
And what about the superstition part of it? Like that part of it, I mean, I get it, but it kind of really annoyed me. Like, and I'm using my own prejudice to kind of say they should have known better. But again, that's just me talking in this day and time. But that part of it where she had to go through the whole trouble of poisoning this little boy to prove to them that just annoyed me.
Well, that part did, but I guess she didn't feel she had no other choice because they were going to believe what they wanted to, and because
But seriously,
because people had already started talk, people get together and start talking, they started believing. Yeah, something wrong with the baby. Everybody like, yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Like that kind of annoyed me because this woman has been living amongst you since she was a child. And because these kids are mysteriously dying, and like I said, they never said how they died.
They didn't,
They
but I
never
guess
said what caused it. Could have been, like you said, a pox or something, but they never said
something.
what it was.
No, I guess knowing who her mom was, they figured that this must have been something that she did because they figured, okay, she must be like her mother. She's some kind of witch.
But that didn't make sense because she brought those babies into the world. Why would she wait till all this time to kill them if she was gonna kill them?
It sounded good, I guess.
So I
They looking
mean,
for a
they now
reason,
now all of a sudden they
and
looking at
that
her
was their
funny. But
reason.
when you need her, you knocking on her door. But so it was just that was annoying to me. And I don't,
But
and like
at
you said
first they,
before, I don't get what the plot line of that was. Like, why would they turn on her? I don't get why that was significant because it seemed like they turned on her. Then they kind of, Brother Abel came supposedly, and he was the one to say, oh, she's gonna cast out her sin. But yet you're relying on her to give you potions for your sickness to make whatever she was making for my dough. You're still relying on her to do those things for you. But yet so I don't know. I didn't quite understand that or accept that. So I don't know what was going on with that or
I
why
don't know.
they turned on her or why that needed to be part of the story.
Don't know.
I don't know.
It's a very strange, complicated story. The way it
It
was
is. I
written.
mean, I feel like there's a lot to dissect, like, but I mean, overall, I thought it was, I kind of thought it was an important book. Like, I get the idea historically of Conjure Women because there is a story by Charles W. Chestnut that's also called Conjure Women. If anybody is interested in Charles W. Chestnut. So I get the historical significance of it. I get the importance of telling the story about these slaves, these ex-slaves, these Black women that were relied upon, even by white people, even by their white masters, to kind of take care of, to kind of be nurses, to kind of be, like you said, they were midwives. They were, I don't know, what do you call people? Like, they were the people that handled death. They cleaned the body. So they were responsible for all of these aspects of life on the plantation, you know, for their masters, and then obviously rule after slavery, but still on this plantation, you know, still in this community of ex-slaves. Everybody went to her. Like she said, everybody was knocking on her door at all hours of the night, you know, all day, every day, for her to heal them, for her to, you know, birth their babies, or if someone died, they would go get, you know, so.
Right. So, when something bad happens, you always, or they're looking for somebody to blame. And I guess she was the only one they could blame.
But she really wasn't the only one they could blame, but whatever.
I'm saying in their eyes she was.
So I don't know,
She
if
must
I
have
was
did
Rue,
something.
if I was Rue, I would have just left them too and be like, okay, y'all want to blame me? Next time somebody die or somebody need to help having a baby, y'all on your own. But she didn't do that because that wasn't her nature.
No.
Like, you know,
No,
she
she
knew that
was
they
the
needed
person
her.
to care about people. Yeah.
So, and when it came to her own baby, there was nobody there to help her with her own baby.
No. And that was another strange part. It's like she got in labor, and they kind of hinted that she lost the baby, but it was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, they didn't show the baby.
Strange.
She said she didn't see the baby, but she was having something was going on before, because she was out of it. And I guess they said they cut the baby out of, the white doctor cut the baby out of her, and the baby was born dead.
That's what they
But
said. That's what they told her. That's what I'm
but
saying.
they
That's
didn't
the
say
part
how
that's
long she was
strange.
out. Like, why didn't she get to see the baby?
I don't know. I'm saying it's kind of strange. They didn't say much about it.
They didn't. And it was
I
kind of
could
like you
see
said,
why
like they
she
whisked the
was.
baby away.
Well, yeah, that's kind of
Like,
sound like they stole it and totally died. That's how
right.
it
So
sounds.
where was the baby buried at? If the baby died,
Don't
but where was the
know.
baby buried at?
See, I don't know. They never said it. Remember, that's why she was searching. She went searching in the woods. She went searching everywhere. But
So that's
she
what I said.
said that they
How.
was lying.
Right. And I kind of maybe thought because Brother Abel, he might have sold the baby to the white doctor, but I don't know. It said it was
Maybe,
born dead, but he sold it.
maybe because I never trusted him from the get go.
I didn't
First
either.
of all,
And that the
he
fact
just
that
sounds
Rue
slick talking.
didn't like him, but then she ended up sleeping with him.
Yeah,
What was that about? How'd that happen?
I don't know.
So that
It was
was like, how did that ever, like, how did that, like, she was weary of him. She didn't like him. She didn't trust him. But all of a sudden, now she having this baby, she's sleeping with him. And so that, because I felt that the whole story was kind of anticlimactic. Like, she kept alluding that something was wrong with Bean, that Brother Abel was suspicious in some way, but it all turned out to be okay. Like, nothing was
to
wrong.
be
Nothing
nothing
happened.
at the end.
He wasn't
The
being
worst thing that
sinister in
happened
any
in this
way.
story was Bro Abel.
So I
Young
mean,
dude
it was
being
kind
the
of,
baby's daddy.
it was
That's
kind of a
crazy.
happy ending, so to speak. You know, like, I'm not saying it was, but I'm just saying, like, no one died, so to speak, but the baby. But all the characters that she said that she made you think was ominous, they weren't ominous at all. There was nothing wrong with them.
No, no, true.
So yeah, I felt that it was kind of like nothing, like you were saying, like nothing happened
No, it's
in
like
the
you got to
story.
the end and like, okay.
Yeah, I felt like, right, nothing happened. Like, okay, Bean was born, he got sick, he got well, it's a miracle. But nothing, I felt like nothing happened. Like, nothing was revealed to us. There was no big revelations, no, like, I don't know if that makes a good story. Was there supposed to be a plot twist? Does that make so I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of anticlimactic and
It was kind of
underwhelming
like a
to me.
twist and turn that led to nowhere.
Right, yeah. That's a perfect way of
Like
putting.
you done
Like, you
run
wanted
all the
something to be
round the
wrong, but there was
bend and
nothing wrong. So should
through
we
the
be happy
woods,
about
and
that, or should we be like, oh? So I don't know.
it's just like, oh, okay.
So what do you get? You give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Hmm. Yeah, I guess thumbs up to read it. So
Yeah,
you can judge for yourself.
yeah, I agree. I give it a thumbs up. I think
think
I
it's a
think it's
good
worth the
book
read.
to read and then maybe read with someone else so you can have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
I think
this will
that's
be a
the only
good book
way to
club
read this type of book.
Mm-hmm.
But just to read it on your own, it'll leave you just wondering about so many things. So if you read it, maybe with someone else or even a group of people,
like a book
you
discussion.
all might be able to decipher the book itself. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
say
agree with
thumbs
you.
up for that reason. It's a good book to have to share with someone else, maybe for a book club, because it's a good discussion book. I think
I agree. I
you
agree
can
with
have
you.
a good discussion with this book.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Because there's still so much to talk about. So yeah, I agree with you. It would be a
Right.
good book. So all right. So again, these are just our opinions of the book. If you are interested in reading Conjure Women, we have this book available here at the Broadview Public Library District. You can place this book on hold with your library card, or you can come and check it out with your Broadview Public Library card or any library card that is in, what do we call it, Yvonne? What is it? Our area? Like what's our system called? Sorry.
That's a swan.
Swan. So yeah, if you have a library card from any of the Swan libraries, you can come and check out this book. You can place the book on hold at your library if you're interested in reading this book. You can go on Goodreads and read other people's reviews. If you don't like what we had to say, you can go on YouTube and watch other people's reviews. If you don't like what we had to say, I did not link any YouTube videos this time. I should have. I apologize. But if you just go on YouTube, if you go on Goodreads, you can find other people's opinions of this book. But again, if you're interested in Conjure Women, stop by the Broadview Public Library District, and we have this book available for checkout. So next
And go
month,
on our Facebook page and share your opinion with us.
yes, we would love that. We would love that. Go on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and tell us what you think. If you've read this book, if you want to read it, or any comments or questions you might have based on this book banter, we love to hear your opinions and your thoughts and read your comments. Do you have anything else you want to add about Conjure Women?
Nope. Just read it for yourself and let us know what you think.
All right. So next month's book banter for November, which is going to be November 19th, Thursday at 3 p.m. It's going to be The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abidar. And this book is also available at the library. I believe it is also on Media on Demand. I believe you can get Conjure Women on Media on Demand too, with the library card. So if you're interested in The Girl with the Louding Voice, please let us know if you're interested with your library card. The book is available, and we hope you will join us next month for The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abidari. All right. Thank you all for joining us for Book Banter.
Thank you. See you next time.